Hello everyone, this is Mr. Larryman, and what I have for you guys today is the last semifinals game of the 2024 Rise of the Witch King Winter Tournament. This game, we have a bit of a global game with players from all regions of the world, or 3 continents of the world, I guess. North America, Europe, and Korea in this series between Team Europoors and Team Korea, or Team KR. Joining us on the evil side for this first match, we are going to have our KR team made up of a pre-selection of players and a couple of alternates from Korea filling in as well. Meanwhile, Team Europoors will be starting on good this game, fielding 2 Europeans and 2 North Americans. Without further ado, let us wait for this loading screen to finish and get into the game, which may take a while. This is the first game for a lot of these guys, so the computers have not cached everything that might need to be loaded, so hopefully we're not sitting here for like a few minutes. It could happen, of course, but you know. And yeah, I am very excited for this game, because not gonna lie, I haven't actually seen the Koreans play in quite a while. I'm really interested in seeing if the meta has developed since the last time we've seen them. And without further ado, we have gone to the game, so let us begin. In the Arfidinian side of the map, we have Jololol joining us from Europe. He currently has about 250 ping, so sucks to be him. Let's see how he handles that this game. Meanwhile, on Misty Mountains, we have Probes up here from Korea going up against Exodus on Elves. Meanwhile, we have Horus on Western Gondor, we can see in the chat, and finally Klaus on Cardalin, again joining us from Europe. Meanwhile, I'm Korean is obviously from Korea, and joining us on the Evil Men, and finally Angmar will be played by Ain't this game. And we do see Probes Arb already over at Karndoom going in for a somewhat early, and not that early honestly, this is a pretty standard play a lot of the time. Rotate onto North Downs. Meanwhile, we do see also an evil attack by Aymar onto Lothlorien that has been pushed away by Exodus. Meanwhile, I'm Korean is going in on Western Root Hour. A lot of early aggression on Arfidang here, but it seems like the Koreans are not really committing too hard, just kind of going for probing attacks, stripping out a couple of external cannons wherever they see fit, and not really committing yet. But with the second player coming in from the north here on Aymar, we might be seeing a bit of a commitment onto the spawn. Let's see if the good team responds, especially as Misty Mountains goes in on the North Downs. Exodus's Arb, I'm not sure if he has moved it to Arfidane or maybe if it was Fornos, but Exodus has signals he's on the way. Evilman does actually get chased away by Klaus with that Cardinal Rotate, and by that force field, Morgamir does go down to Jololol. That push really has been completely shut down by the forces of good. Exodus has arrived to clean up the scraps, but there are not really any scraps to clean up here. I suppose he could actually chase away Aymar a bit further in there if he wants, but indeed Ain't decides to fall back a little bit with so many good factions in the area. I'm Korean's now going in on sorry about that. I've got a bit of a cough right now, but I'm Korean is going in on Last Bridge, but has been chased away by Exodus, staying in the area here, looking to kind of help along with this Troll Shaw's clear. Maybe they could drop it early, finish Druid, and really get some early pressure on Eastern Rudar. I'm sure that the good team does know that Eastern Rudar is a very common build for Korean EMs, so they might be early targeting it as a precaution. Now we do also see a double on Eastern Tharbat here. The spawn has gone down, and ooh, Smaug has been left behind, but he does get seen. Good communication, I assume, by the Korean team, making sure that Miss Recall does not evolve into a disaster. Meanwhile, I'm not Korean. Horus is going in on Wang Rider encampment at this point, trying to put some pressure on the spawn, maybe get that Naz deny. But it is the 4-minute mark, and he's just kind of now getting a little bit of progress on it. So I'm not really sure if a Nazgul deny is really in the cards. We do see another rotate into Lothlorien, a little bit of a cliff there. He has to be a little bit careful with that actual Arbiter placement at Karndoom. Meanwhile, I'm Korean is now going in on the river cannons for Klaus, making sure to strip these out early does help you along a little bit because it forces Cardalin to be a bit more mindful about the vision there. if you have these cannons out, you can't really see EM coming until he's pretty deep incline close to Minkiria. Meanwhile, we do see Horus and Exodus going in on Dunlin, going for an early kill of that spawn. Now, granted, Horus's heroes are kind of dangerously low. He has to be very careful, especially since Probes has recalled him. He is not quite recalling it out as fast as I would have expected, but he does get out in time for not anything to actually happen. Interestingly, I'm not sure if anything outside of Eastern Tharbad has died yet, which is really interesting given that there have been just so many rotates already in this game.
Nothing's died so
Oh wait,
far,
no,
Larry.
Trollshaw's Eastern Tharbad, I suppose. But
I
they're
mean,
all like very
right now,
minor spawns.
Right now, they could posture for a pretty good double on white, given just how low Horus's heroes are, but don't think they're going to do it right now.
Yeah, and also Joel does have his ARB over here. We also do see a lot of Misty Mountains on the Korean server really go for the strip of Agrelon. They really like dropping in here, so a good might be kind of accounting for that as well, kind of keeping the ARB posted early here. But that could backfire on them. If Joel isn't careful, he could get Misty Mountains dropping in and sniping him while he's not looking. You do see a double on Minhiriaf here. Lots of damage going in off
Exodus are a bit out of position there, so then
yeah, a little bit out of
the spawn's
position.
pretty open right now.
Yeah, even though they're probably not going to get the spawn this push, getting it so open does make it so that Evilman is basically guaranteed into 1v1. Also, do know he did grab Khan's ornaments on the Khan of the Wayne Riders. Ooh, a little bit of overextension by Joel gets Argleb killed by the Witch King there. Definitely not ideal for him. Meanwhile, we do see a double on Western Rudar. Exodus has arrived to respawn, but all the cannons on the spawn are now stripped out. He has to be kind of careful because even Exodus can't really deal with three factions at once on one hero ball. It is going to be the spawn most likely dying here. Meanwhile, though, Dunland is probably going to go down very soon to Horus, while Evilman is kind of rotating out of his theater. And Eastern Rudar is getting quite a lot of pressure from Klaus, so it might be going down soon. But Joel losing Argleb is going to make his defense a lot harder. He's been being hit very hard this game, and he is still going in on Fornos, not chaining his gas off. Again, just Probes staying in the area, and I'm Korean's now going in on Tharbad, the eastern side strip.
Looks like they get much done with Exo's ARB right here, though.
Yeah, probably not.
With extra posturing around here, they can probably rotate over and kill Dun right now, after Force stops the MM rotate.
Sure. I don't think it's super important, honestly, getting us as early as right now, though, because it's just kind of really early in the game, and they're not really in the position to really threaten the Probe's ARB here yet. So it might be better to kind of save that money and see if there's a more pressing buy that kind of rises up later on. Now, very interestingly, though, we are kind of seeing Good really playing around a lot of the stereotypical Korean strategies. We do see early aggression on Dunlin, early aggression on Eastern Rudar, ARBs covering the actual Agrelon areas. These are all very, very common Korean strats that Good's kind of specifically kind of targeting in the early game here. So it could be that Good is really playing around the Korean meta here. And we have to see if Korea kind of adapts to that, or if they kind of double down and keep going for...
They do seem to be just doubling down, considering East Rudar's being gassed right now, even though it's really open.
Yeah, if I was an EM here, I would definitely swap off at this point, but he is going to keep continuing to gas here. So let's see if that kind of gets punished.
Klaus is calling out.
He is going to be... Yep, he said he might be gassing, and next spawn wave in 50 seconds, the catapults are going to start coming out, so it's going to be confirmed. Ooh, Smaug does get quite low in this hero fight. Malvagil does get targeted down as well, but Exodus is here to kind of zone Probes out, zone Aingbad out, make sure that hero kill does not get too close. Wayne Nazgul does come out. Which one is it? It's going to be Ulifa on Evilman. That's an interesting one, given that Exodus has been kind of engaging him a little bit. It's going to help him against Exodus quite a lot for sure. Lots of engagements going on over here. Jolo only actually using one hero here, but still putting up quite a bit of fight. His heroes are kind of all low, except for Arbaleg.
Does look like Don's about to go down here.
Wayne. Dunlin the spawn, you mean?
Yeah, the spawn. Well, he's pinned to East Rudar right now. And with Horus there and MM's ARP going to Orange, it does look like Horus is gonna get it for free.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting hero buy here. Actually getting a early Gandalf by Joel. I suppose to replace Arglove. Typically, you would actually see a loss-off buy here, especially since he is gassing Fornos, but instead we are seeing a Gandalf buy. Kind of seems to me that Joel kind of knows he's not going to live forever. There's too much aggression on him, so he's kind of playing for the late-game roving hero ball. Dylan has been fully stripped, so we are going to see that spawn die soon, but we also are seeing a double on Cardolin here. Still, though, Minhira has not died yet, with actually River Fortify coming out. Fund Elf, all Klaus calling out how Korea only ever does KR. Given this, I'm not actually sure if they were really predicting that early game. Maybe they were just going for this anyways, just like because it's a decent area to go regardless of the enemies being Korean. Kind of hard to say. But with this triple on Eastern Rudar, that is going to be the spawn dying. I think that has been 4 gas invested in it, or maybe
this is 4 gas right now, yeah.
Yeah, 4th gas, because he grabbed Khan's armaments, so that's what the 2-minute delay is from. Ain't is actually forced to rotate down here, walking manually to deter this push, which is not the best look this early in the game. You don't want to be kind of wasting your opportunity costs, or there's a lot of opportunity costs kind of associated with walking down here to defend your ally like that, especially Evil Men. And Probes now going in on the northern side of Evendom. I think we are going to see a Fornos kill very soon. A lot of cannons have been kind of stripped, and Evil has been pushing it quite a lot. But outside of Arfadane, there hasn't been a lot of significant damage. We might be seeing a Minhiri after soon, but honestly, in a lot of other games, it would have died by now. Evil has been pushing a lot more on Arfadane than any other faction, really. Radagast comes out for Exodus. Exodus going for, I suppose, the full hero ball strat. Now, Probes is now going for Minhiri off the spawn itself. Klaus is going to try and respond. Probes doesn't have a lot of mass to cover himself anymore, so he is going to recall out here. Meanwhile, Exodus is in the area to finish off Eastern Rudar. He actually goes for that ARB. If Probes didn't show up, he probably would have gotten it as well. Barely losing any HP on his heroes, despite going over so many cannons, very interestingly. Meanwhile, Ain't Bad and I'm Korean are going on Fornos 2 at a time.
I think
Horus is here to defend.
Misclicked on Durin right there rather than Galadriel, because it was a pretty free looking kill for him, but
yeah, Galadriel is being blocked a lot by the other heroes, especially with Iwindle's HP bar kind of like obscuring her, so maybe he just didn't see. Especially like behind the spawn, it could be possible that he just literally didn't see Galadriel. Happens quite a lot.
If they cut off the black RP, which they've spotted on they see him, yeah, if they can cut it off and force it out, then they can instantly post, and then
yeah,
that's the south one.
Yeah, for sure. Like, having Dunlin killed like this, even if you're not going to immediately buy Oz, is such a good position to be in, because it lets you just, like, the second you push out Black's ARB, if that happens, you can just get so much value out of blocking it out with Oz.
They might have to pop it a bit preemptively, just given the pressure on Tharbad, but
yeah, they are going for Tharbad a lot, so they might be going for Evil Oz. We did actually see some pushing on Amasul as well, so they might actually want to buy it regardless now, just to deny Evil Oz, which
they won't get it because MM overextended a bit with the heroes into the cannons, but it is looking very open to EM now.
Yeah, EXO did come anyway, so I don't think they would have gotten it that push, but it is very open now.
They're going to get a free Scather here, it looks like, for Merc.
Yep,
MM's with his
is Horus's ARB in the area? Maybe he's going for a cross-map stun. We'll have to see. Malvigil does go for slow, and Probes does actually come in.
He does look too low.
One of the factions here is going to have to play on zoning beauty. Did see that cross-map stun from Horus there. Good coordination by the good.
I think they should probably swap, Exo says as well. Exo wants the zone while Jolo pushes the base, just because with his 2 melees, Exo does a lot worse job killing Scather.
Yeah, but Horus actually does arrive to kind of tag team out with Arfadang here, because Frost is being pushed once again. So few cannons left remaining on that spawn. And with Exo zoning here, it should be Scaffa going down now to Horus. It's just the spawn itself attacking his 3 heroes. And indeed, very soon, the long worm is slain. Now that's a hefty 2,500 into Pocket of Horus. We also do see a little bit of a lag spike here. Interesting. Whose lag is that?
Fine on my end.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that freeze a little bit. Hopefully it's fine. Let me make sure I don't have anything running in the background. No, I don't have anything running. But yeah, let's
I'll leave
go.
just in case it is.
We can't.
I'll just leave in case it was me, but fine on my end.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. It's like, I guess you do have like a historically unstable connection, but I don't think it was you there. Korean is having his ARP chased in the north side of the map. I think he's gonna notice this, or maybe he doesn't. No, he's gonna notice this. Yeah, there's no way he doesn't notice. Mixed Red just chase him a little bit, but we're kind of seeing a really strong position for good here positionally. The second they buy us, they really do cement their control of the map. Evil has been spending a lot of time, presumably trying to go for an Evil Os, but now that Dunlin's already dead and has been dead for a while, Good can just deny it whenever they want.
Good is delaying it a fair bit, because Evil is in a great position to kill Tharbad here, and if MM gets their BC there before Elves does, they can zone orange or red off it.
Yeah, but I feel like Good has a big enough war chest to deny Os before them. Now, we do also see a double on Fornos here, so that is probably going to be the spawn dying. Let's see if Good manages to
I don't think it will die, because Aang played very...
Actually, no, it's not going to die. The Forest actually shows up as well to delay this. Yep, this is going to be another delaying of the death of Fornos. Now, Fornos is also only on 1,300 HP, so it's not going to live for much longer, I'd assume. But again, Evil has been being slowed down quite a lot this game, and there is barely any damage on the miners. We have Minhirif not even dead yet, Tharbad not even dead yet, although it's probably going to die soon.
Not killing it though,
absolutely no focus whatsoever on the Western Condor at all.
By not killing it, they know that Exo's ARP is going to be up there a bit more towards red to protect it, so yeah, they're doing exactly that. They're capitalizing on Exo being there to kill Tharbad, and they might just get Ost here, honestly.
I mean, with Klaus's ping possibly, but I'm really more worried about Galar, and yes, indeed, he does go down there, kind of pushed in by Ost here.
They had the ability to contest that.
That is going to be...
with only White there.
The second Tharbad dies, though, full fund on Cardalin, and they immediately deny Ost for the Evil team.
I do think Evil made a bit of a mistake there. Singles was only Horus and Orange there. They definitely could have fought their way towards it and funded Evil for it, but...
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they have the money for double Naz at this point. Probably would have been good to get single Naz regardless, but...
Even just denying it from Good, because of how good it is, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the value on Ost, like, when you already are up positionally, is really just for denying Evil Ost. I don't think you really need it outside of that when you're already ahead.
Well, it is considerably worse, given that Tharbad's dead now. Because that gives them an opening to get ARPs through, especially if they buy Evil Tharbad, but...
Yeah. Brigabo does go down to this fight in the north of the map. Exodus is starting to look quite scary. It's going to be pretty hard for the Evil faction to kind of contest him going on in this game. And really, what does Evil do now? Because their game plan has been to go for Evil Loss, presumably. But now that that's been denied, they actually go for Reedwater? I'm not... that might be a mistake. I think that might have... It's not that bad, but I'm not sure if it's the right play.
They need tempo right now, and with how open Minirith is and Faunus already dead, so with both of those, they're both much better tempo buys, I reckon. Gives them Luminous or Aaron Vaughn.
Yeah, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was like a mispositioning accidentally buying the spawn. Not quite sure, because that money for Rewater could have gone towards Minhiraf here, which would have translated to a full-on Aaron kill.
I mean, especially considering that Aaron Vaughn's maxed right now, that would have been a very good kill for them. Really would have.
I mean, they still could kill it. I don't know if Good's really in the area contest. Actually, Horus and Exodus are getting in here now. If I'm Korean can't kill the spawn like in the next 30 seconds, and most likely he can't, they are going to get forced away. Yeah,
Evil probably should realize that with Horus's BC rotating, nothing is covering all tank because red's covering white. And given he doesn't have Karina out, and they've just had to fund Frost, I do think that'd be a good deny for them.
That could be good, yeah. But, actually, no, you're right, yeah. There's no cover whatsoever. If they just commit an ARB down there, it's a little bit risky because if their ARB gets forced out, it doesn't come back. But I think it is probably the right play here. Although,
I think
Horse does have the first gas already, so if he can just get funded for it, like, immediately. So this might be a bit harder than it might seem to deny it. Julolol, I do wonder if going for Mithrandir instead of Losov was the right play. Honestly, I think it wasn't a bad idea by Julolol because Losov doesn't even help that much against specifically triples. It just, you're still stretched to Finn. If they double you, you can only defend one spot anyways. So maybe Mithrandir and just going for that larger hero ball throughout the rest of the game is.
It is probably also likely to do with he saw them clearing it from the front, and so although it covers it from the back, it does nothing to help the front.
Yeah, exactly. We also do see I'm Korean and Probes going for a double on Evandem. Maybe a little bit of an over response, but Joel actually does chase away Probes with that flank there. Northern Enderwife tribes get bought. A lot of... Are we playing real estate evil men here? I really expected a Artigor buy much earlier, very interestingly. But regardless, this is going to stop and stall good even more. We do kind of see this trend where EMs on KR really like kind of turtling and delaying their deaths, being a really big pain for the good team. But kind of the problem with that is that it means the miners, Cardalin and Western Gondor just don't have enough damage put on them into the late game. Like, really, the Carderu and the Western Gondor are really, really healthy right now. Granted, Miniglar is dead, but otherwise, Carderu's in a decent spot, and Western Gondor has no focus whatsoever. And meanwhile, they're actually pressuring the Evil Heartlands now. We might be seeing a Enmor's death very soon, if Good keeps up their attacks. Now, last bridge has gone down. With Eastern Rudar dead, I don't really think that event specifically is going to be very useful, but that is a nice bit of positioning opened up for Evil. They can kind of walk in towards the eastern side of Barrows, maybe pressure that spawn.
I do find it interesting that there's been no doubles on West this game. They've really been just ignoring Horus.
Yeah, we do see a lot of doubles on West from KR a lot of the time. Like, they love doing that Agrolon drop strip and then coming in from there. But for whatever reason, I suppose, maybe they feel like they don't really have the space to try for that yet. Like, maybe they're spread too thin. Or maybe they're more focused on Cardinal. Maybe that was their target this game. And, like, now that it's kind of backfired, they're kind of readjusting. We do see more continued focus on Cardinal, which is probably the right play here since Aaron Vorn is quite opened up. And they haven't really gotten any progress to capitalize on in Western Gondor yet. And yep, indeed, Probes does come in to go for Londyre right now. Cardo is going to have to respond, and his ARB is actually quite out of position, so there is going to be a lot of uncontested pushing time here. Meanwhile, the horse is going for Morse, which gets pushed away by I'm Korean. Evilman also got Kargash, interestingly. Really, real estate evil men. I'm
quite surprised they didn't fund Evil Men for the Rudar Dominate.
Yeah, honestly, it's not a bad play here.
Not even Lightash, that's crazy. This is...
Yeah, like, it really is just, like, the symptom of, like, having a really different meta. We can see, like, their entire different, like, philosophy when playing these factions kind of show right here. Going for, ooh, that medic is kind of low here, you want to be careful. And, ooh, Rogash is probably going to die. Maybe, yes, indeed, that mass finishes him off. And that is going to severely hamper Probe's ability to push bases. Now, we do also see a double on Numinos at the same time here. Exodus' ARB is here, though, and he is going to respond, probably driving away Amar without too much damage on the spawn. A lot of the outer cannons have been stripped, though. Meanwhile, Ernir has started Rally. That is kind of like a death timer for Good. The second that last upgrade finishes and Gondor hits that giant power spike, Evil is going to have a very hard time healing with Western Gondor, especially if Horus then gets funded for Mardor or something like that.
It's very late, but I'm quite surprised that they didn't fund Exo for a Conceal plus Howdy there, because I feel like with an East build, it's been so easy to shove the Angarb out of East, and then Exo, no one's really contesting Exo there, especially with MM down Goblin back before Merc died.
Oh, we do see a high pass by the Misty Mountains player. They actually did max Goblin count this game. I haven't actually noticed yet. But yeah, you're probably right in a respect, Toby, but I think maybe Exodus's thinking here is that he can just kind of focus on raw hero power and he can go off the mass of his allies, because his allies' bases are relatively healthy for this stage of the game, except maybe Arfidang. And like if he goes for Conceal, that's like a lot of like geography, like speaking from like a geography perspective, that's a lot of land to be covering. So it might be kind of difficult to cover all of that at once. Meanwhile, like if you focus on the south side of the map where the good kind of has a lockhold on, it might be a lot easier to actually respond to evil attacks by just focusing there. You do see a triple counter rotate by good. Actually, no, Cardalin has to respond to Missy, so it is a 2v2 right here by Anuminos. Evil's actually not engaged in seeing both of these heroes balls here, instead going for Barrow Downs. Exo is going to be intercepted from the north by Inkbad, so he might have to pull out here. He might be pincered, but instead, Evilman does recall out because Aimbar is being pincered here. And this push is dead in its tracks. Aimbar does recall out. Probes is actually back in the area after having pushed Londire, and we are seeing Evil kind of hitting a couple road bumps here, not really being able to get a lot of progress in the last few minutes. Klaus does call out a double on himself, and indeed I'm Korean, along with presumably Probes, are coming in to finish off his southern spawns. But an Evilman Arb does get intercepted north side of Forenos. That is going to be a blow to the late game rotate power of I'm Korean. But at the same time, Cardalin is going to lose 2 of their gassing spawns right now. So what I just said about Cardalin being kind of healthy, I might have to take that back now, especially with a little bit of focus on Barrow Downs as well. But actually, a dive goes in on the Misty Mountains Arb. I think Klaus went in and sniped that while Misty was pushing Londire, and that is going to stop any and all Misty attacks onto the south side of the map for the next while of the game. Now that
I would like to see with that Horus push the right side of MM, just so that way he can pin MM solo. It gives Exo a lot more space to push in Ang or AM respectively.
Yeah, that would probably be a really good choice for Horus to make here. Instead, where are his ARPs right now? I think we saw his ARP by Barrows, indeed. I think he's going for the western side of this, the enemy. Honestly, would it be a good idea for him to move his second ARP up to here so he can, like, pressure both sides at once? Because, really, he's in a very safe position, and I think Good would be able to tell if Evil sneaks an ARP by and Horus has to move an ARP back. So it might actually be worth it to take that risk and just like kind of repeatedly attack both sides of Evil at the same time while leaving his own bases exposed. Meanwhile, Probes up here being pushed back by Exodus and Joel, and also Horus and Klaus pushing back Ain't Bad. These Evil pushes are dead in their tracks, and I think Good is scaling a little bit faster than Evil here, so Evil does not want to be being stalled right now. Oh, that was a little bit of a word salad. Bro, pushing back, or at least holding Joel and Exodus for now. High Pass is a very annoying to push area. It's a lot of just small chokes that are very hard, especially for melee heroes to kind of get into. Meanwhile, we do see Klaus going in on NNY trying to clean up the remnants of Ain't Bad's mass, or I'm Korean's mass. He actually does have quite a lot remaining, so this real estate build might be kind of paying off. We are seeing Anuminos being killed as well. Not quite enough time for him to actually finish off the spawn. He does lose Moot Lord in that engagement because Horus comes in for the gank as well. That is a little bit of a setback for the Evil team. Meanwhile, we might be seeing Austin Hill die here to Angmar. I'm Korean also here to kind of zone out the Cardalin faction. Yeah, that's going to be that spawn going down. Anuminos very close to going down, but not quite enough. And now Arnor is kind of decimated. honestly. Despite Moot Lord going down, the western side of the map has very little presence remaining for good. So really what I said about Horse having kind of a safe position down south might not be true for much longer. Meanwhile, though, a lot of actual aggression has been put on in the evil Heartland regions. Ooh, Thranduil coming back in there, quite dangerous for Exodus there, but instead it actually pays off for him. Gets that core kill. Yeah, that probably was intentional bait, but I expected that to definitely be a trade. That was very interesting. I think if Probes like didn't pull back LoTR, that should have been a trade.
I think even with LoTR there, he doesn't have the DPS to finish off him there.
And Fran only had like 250 HP. That's like 2 autos. Maybe 3. Most likely 2 though. Oh, also we're seeing Amari and Stalkers come out here. They do a lot of damage at a nice high range. Even better versions of the Guardians of Evenden. Also, do you know that Exodus has a 8 stack of Dwarven Lords right now? That's a lot of extra DPS being added to his ball there. No doubt that kind of contributed to the Gorkill kill. Ooh, Probes Arb down here. Has he actually grabbed a second Arb, or is that his home Arb that he's shuffling around here? I'm not quite sure. I think that's his home Arb that he's shuffling around. I don't think Probes has actually grabbed a second Arb yet, but I'm not sure. Cardo Special Transport does get caught in the open by my Korean and killed. That is going to be Klaus on 1 Arb. Not the hugest deal now that he's only on 1 spawn anyways, but it is going to maybe have some ramifications in the late game. Ooh, that is a lot of damage going in on the Amar ball, but not enough. Numeros just did not have the HP going into this fight, and it does go down. Melville also getting quite low there, kind of risky HP threshold for him, but in the end, it's fine. Wait, did anybody ever grab his Nazgul? Oh no, he has. It was a Doomwrath the whole time. Aaronir does go down in the Endedwife region of the map. Has he actually finished Rally? I don't think he has. He didn't finish Rally before Ernir died. That might have swung the game around a little bit for Evil. I wouldn't really say it's even yet, but it just went from pretty firmly good favor to kind of up in the air. That is basically 7,500 of value kind of gone for Gondor. At the very least for Horus, some of the mass has already finished upgrading, so he's still going to get that mass as long as Lamedon is alive, but that is not a good sign. Not a good sign whatsoever for Horus right here. We might still be seeing a Mardil. I think a Mardil still wouldn't be a bad idea in this case. And really, Horus probably wants to go for heroes, I'd assume, or maybe fund Exo for a good hero ball, because the Misty Mountains hero ball right now is really scary. It can go for a lot of engagements, despite losing a couple of their ground heroes. Because they have a 4 flying hero ball right now, which is kind of scary for right-click alpha strikes, for sure, even if it's not quite a lot of sustained DPS. The mats might be able to kind of make up for that. Alright, Jololo going in on Carndoom. I think Shield was actually bought quite early by Aimbad. Again, kind of a really common aspect of the Korean meta. Galadriel goes down in that engagement. Also having gotten Nenya, so that is a little bit of an extra sting for Exodus. He does have Celeborn, so he does get a little bit of a consolidation buff, but again, not the best for Exodus there. I think that was really his first loss of the whole game in terms of heroes. Now, at the same time though, Horus is going to probably finish off Endedwife here, and that is going to be I'm Korean's Southern presence gone, but he has also picked up Dominate Rudar. Again, a big difference between the North Korean and North American and Korean metas. Like, EMs tend to go for really hero-centric builds and positioning-centric builds on, or like tempo-centric builds on North America, but on Korea they go for a lot of spawns, a lot of stalling instead of super power-centric builds. It's a very interesting difference in philosophy, and we are seeing like that philosophy kind of pay off here. I'm Korean is really leveraging a lot of his positioning. Arguably, maybe if he got heroes, it would still be a better position for him, but it's honestly kind of hard to say. This is a lot of mass that he would not be getting otherwise. including these Amarian Stalkers, you cannot write them off. They're hard to see, they blend in with Headhunters, and they deal a lot of damage at a high range. Guardians of Evendom are normally very actually oppressive on a good faction, let alone on a evil faction, where heroes are a little bit squishier. On the heroes that you're fighting are a little squishier. We are also kind of seeing Jolo having to repeatedly defend Barrows a lot. The good factions are kind of glued to their spawns. They don't want to be losing this position over here, because once Barrows dies, it's going to be Mifflon alone in the western side of the map. Not really enough to defend from, and there's a lot of stuff they will need to slog through in the north side to start really hurting Evil. Ooh, Empyrean has left a medic in that recall. Let's see if that actually wanders into cannons and dies. And also, I do want to correct myself. I forgot of... I think I did a change and undid that change. Rally does not actually spawn the normal mass once Ernir dies. That was a misremembering of mine. So that was actually super catastrophic for Horus. He doesn't even get the mass now, so he's literally down 7,500 on top of a hero. And a ton of gas time as well. And just look at this mass. Arthrodine Transport does also go down there. There's so much mass from Empyrean here that, compounded with Misty and Ain't Bad, it's just so hard for Good to actually push here. Misty's also camping Exo, so despite Exo being quite powerful here, he can't really push a lot. The Evils being down so many heroes doesn't really matter that much, because their mass and their ability to leverage that mass is really strong right now, and Good's actual power is kind of exposed. Klaus signals if he wants to grab Pelander. He is going for console. Honestly, 4k plus the price of Pelander for Pelander, probably not a good idea. I would cancel that right now. And it's probably going to be auto-cancelled anyways with this hero fight, finishing off the spawn. Lots of kind of dives here. I'm surprised no heroes have died, but as I say, that Carping does go down to that shot from the Conduit Wing Riders, and the Barrows goes down in this giant triple, or actually no, just a double. I was seeing a lot of mass there. I was even thinking it was a triple, but that is kind of the power of the Real Estate EM build, just being able to flood the map with mass here. Exo going in for a very cheeky, very nicely timed rotate onto Karndoom, drops the spawn, one-shots it with his hero ball. Very, very good swing of tempo for Exodus there, kind of trying to swing around the game. That is going to slow down Ain't Bad quite a lot. But actually, will it? Because now that I think about it, I'm not sure if he actually gassed Karndoom all that much. He has been gassing kind of Plains of Amar for a while. Now, Plains is max, so he is going to start running out of stuff to gas. But he's actually been gassing Mount Grant for a while as well. Maybe he has kind of noticed that Good has been pushing Mount Karndoom and instead opted to not gas Karndoom. Amon Lonk comes out, Haldir comes out. I guess Toby's idea of the Eastern build for Elves is kind of coming to fruition here just a little bit later on than he thought. We do see a Valiance, indeed we are going to see Valiance that will turn into, or Haldir into a hero, gives Exodus a little bit of extra positioning and a little bit of extra mass generation. A lot of the eggs in Good's basket are kind of resting on Exo now, and Arvalek going down in the north, they're going to weaken Joel a little bit more, and as he's actually being chased as well, he wants to recall here, and indeed he recalls out while being chased away by the Witch King. Look at all of this mass coming out from probes. Exodus can kill it so fast, but it doesn't even matter because it gets replaced oh so fast. This Goblin Town position is so hard for Evil to, or so hard for Good to actually push into. It's going to be very hard now that Horus is down Ernir for Good to actually try and punish any of this. And Evil's actually going for the kind of north side of Mifflon here. Not quite sure what they're doing. Did they actually grab Skorgrim? Yes, they did. Came down here for Skorgrim. That is a lot of range firepower that Good needs to be dealing with now. Ufa and the rest of I'm Korean's ball is now also going for the western side of Khazad-dûm, kind of starting to pressure the Khazad-dûm area, because that is really the next thing they want to kill. Evil Min Transport gets dived on by Exodus. Exodus actually floats his hero ball over all of these cannons, and once again his plot armor kicks in, gets that Arbiter kill with barely any HP loss on his heroes. Now recalls back to Khazad-dûm to defend his homeland, while Misty Mountains goes in on the Amonlank as well. Horses in the area defending Amonlank for Exodus. Probes has to be a bit careful with his heroes, mind you. They are kind of squishy. But with all this mass, he can get a lot of pushing done every single push, and Good is just not really mirroring that quite well enough. Meanwhile, Exodus is taking this engagement with I'm Korean over here at the Remnants of Tharbad. Frames are dropping like crazy. And in the east side of the map, we do see probes going in on Horus as well. These two kind of carry factions on Good, trying to push into the evil factions, but there's just so much mass that they can't get enough progress. We really are going to have to see Klaus and Joel kind of be opportunistic, strike in between the space that Exo and Horus create if Good wants a chance at regaining their footing. But with a third faction on Evil kind of free to do whatever they want while the other two are in their 1v1s, it is going to be kind of a race for Cardalin and Western Gondor to make up for the losses they've been sustaining thus far. We are going to probably, I think, see Horus come in to defend Khazad-dûm while Exodus goes in for a cheeky dive onto Rudar. Exodus's dives here have been kind of preventing Good from dying prematurely. Without a lot of these dives from Exodus, they would be so much more behind than they are right now. Good kill on Rudar that is going to constrain I'm Korean down to just Kargas Northern Camp and now the Sentry Post, which is a new addition. Now Amonlank might be dying here because even though Horus is defending on behalf of Exodus, he just doesn't really have the power to actually prevent cannons from being killed. His mass is still scaling up, so actually, is it scaling up? Has he forgotten to gas? No, he is actually gassing Pin of Galen. Interesting. Oh, because he actually went for Oathbreakers, but he doesn't have Chiefs yet. I think he might have forgotten to gas the last gas on Eric. Khazad-dûm grabs Dimral Dale, interestingly enough. Exodus is trying to soak up as much money as he can to hang on to dear life. Now, the gas on this spawn is pretty nice for Exo, but I'm not really sure if it's going to live that long regardless. Dimral Dale, when it's not really applied correctly, doesn't actually live very long. A lot of people kind of panic buy it, and it dies in like a minute. So you have to be very deliberate with buying this spawn. You need to actually have people in position to be able to defend it. And with I'm Korean here, he might be just kind of one-pushing the spawn if no goods in the area respawn. And while Horus is actually defending near Amonlank, he just doesn't have the bandwidth to defend Khazad-dûm, especially with Courtier almost dying here. Arpidane loses their second transport, I think, down by Miflond, while Exodus and Western Gondor are fighting near Amonlank. With all these cannons gone on Amonlank, that might be the spawn dying very soon. Also, we did see most of the Dimral Dale cannons get stripped in one push as well. That time that the spawn has bought has been very short-lived. Exodus and Horus are both moving their arbs north. They might be going in for kind of a all-in push. They need to buy some space. They need to actually get something done in this push. And Exodus waits here. Horus waiting for the Horus Arb, I assume. Horus is going to, I assume, recall in as well. Yes, he does. And they go for this engagement. Might be going in and killing Ubafa. Not quite, though, living with 150 HP. They're going in, I think, for Enmores while Exodus zones. They are going to have Western Gondor clear to the east, but in this time, a base race is kind of going on. Khazad-dûm is being pushed down by probes, and Exodus has to recall in to defend, and this push barely makes it through a couple of Coldfell's cannons, and this is really the problem that Good is facing right now. They don't have a lot of non-exposed spawns to, or rather their spawns that they're basing out of are really exposed, and Evil does not have a lot of exposed spawns that they can actually go for. Like, Kargash kind of is exposed, but what else? Maybe Graham, I guess, arguably, but everything else requires a lot of effort to push through and actually kill. Mount Graham actually does grab the weapon as well. That's a lot of mass that Evil is getting. It's not very often that you actually see a Graham max being actually the most viable option, and Graham does have very strong mass. It has arguably outside Doll like the best per gas for Amar. It's just that obviously it is very vulnerable, so it's rarely actually in a normal game viable to upgrade. But in this case, it's paying dividends. Meanwhile, Exodus is trying to engage Misty Mountains here, and although he wins on the open field, pushing into cannons here might be a little bit of a challenge. Exodus is doing his best, but again, if we look at it, not many cannons have died, and he's losing a lot of mass for this. Meanwhile, Ice Bay and Forest Shell does get conquered. Another spawn goes out for I'm Korean. The real estate keeps expanding as more spawns get foreclosed. More and more development is being zoned out for as well. For every single spawn Evilman loses, they just buy a new one, doesn't matter. And Good is just going too slow on clearing out these new developments to actually contain Evilman's spread. Now we do see a double up here by Goblin Town, and there isn't any support from Evil's allies here, so Pros might be losing a little bit of ground here. Indeed, missing Evilman and Amar are kind of just lollygagging around Arnor, probably moving their arbs into position for a defense or a new push. Indeed, I'm Korean does get his arb over here, is going to respond very soon, I assume, and will be shutting down this push by Horus and by Exodus. That being said, though, Kloss actually does arrive as well to try and defend here the western side, but with Amar here, I would not stay here if I was Good. Exodus tries to actually stay and fight, but actually Smell goes down, and Thranduil, despite being so exposed, does not. Now, Iwindle does get actually caught on that little bit of a ledge there, so Exodus does not escape that fight with no losses. But really, I was not expecting Thranduil to dodge death again like that. That was very interesting. But now, since Good has kind of been pushed back, I don't know if Good can actually repel this next push. I don't know if Khazad-dûm's gonna die, but Aemon Lank is almost definitely dead. I think Exodus might do well to just kind of leave it for dead, actually. There's just no cannons to defend here, and he needs to be making sure Khazad-dûm doesn't die in this push. Limrodale is going to go down very soon. Aemon Lank also goes down. Exodus recalls into Khazad-dûm to defend from inside the spawn instead of Aemon Lank. Probably the right play. He has to triage his spawns right now. The Good forces just are not strong enough to actually engage Evil into open field right now. And that is going to be Aemon Lank going down, fully max, I believe. And Exodus, really, would have been better for Mardil to come out instead of this whole Eastern build for Exodus? I'm not really sure. House's medics get quite low here. Meanwhile, a push on Lothlorien is happening. Belvigal goes down to that I'm Korean Sally Forth, and all of these evil heroes are just too high HP. Good can't really contest here. They're losing so much HP. They don't have much actual HP or mass in the first place. Azrael goes down to that chase by I'm Korean as well. And this, even if Evil actually retreats here, that is two heroes on two different factions going down this fight for Good, kind of really cementing their inability to push from now on. What do you do as Good in this situation? What can you do? There's just too much padding. Kargash actually is zoning out Good quite a lot. There's only this little bit of space that Good can try and get through, and the rest of Evil spawns just have so many cannons and camping factions sitting in front of them. I don't really know what Good can actually do to get some tempo back. Exodus is going to go for another rotate and try and clear out these cannons to make the next push easier. Really good opportunity for him to do this. But now, it really comes down to trying to kill Enmors and Goblin Town. But also, at this point, Probes can't just be maxing Gundabad at this point. I don't think it matters at all. Even if Goblin Town and Enmors die, he still has Gundabad, he still has Ugalai, and it's at that point where both spawns are actually maxed. I don't think Probes cares if those two spawns die if he manages to trade stuff for them. Exodus is just trying to grab whatever scraps he can, try and grab like the dregs that exist. By the way, I would recommend just like killing these cannons here. They're like kind of loose anyways. But regardless, what can Exodus even do here? He is the carry, but he just doesn't have targets. And now we have another triple coming in on Cause of Doom. If Evil plays their cards right, they're probably going to kill the spawn here, or at least kill Lothlorien, despite all of the good factions being here. Indeed, they're going in on Lothlorien over here, and that all of that Western Gondor mass just gets annihilated, and the spawn is being targeted down. Exodus trying to sally forth to defend the spawn, but Misty is just here to zone. Courier goes down as well to the I'm Korean DPS, unexpectedly high for only 4 heroes like this, losing Khan and Mootlord early in game. I guess it doesn't matter. And again, the Evil Fat push does get repelled, but at the cost of another hero. Every single push leaves Good a little bit weaker, and just makes it ever more hard for them to defend. Now Cause of Doom is being right-clicked, and with Exo out of town trying to go for 4HL instead, that is probably going to be the spawn going down. Chief of the Lost Off does go down as well. Cora Hill goes down for Cause of Doom, but that is the final large spawn that isn't on Western Gondor down for the count. I guess there's Lothlorien, I guess, but at Helland, but that's it. What do they do now? They got 2 heroes out of that, but they lost Cause of Doom. They also fed Evil 2500. I think honestly in this case it might be GG at this point for Good. Evil has been really, I was very surprised by Evil's ability to really leverage smaller hero balls this game. We saw a lot of actual hero losses early on in the game for Evil, a lot more than Good. But despite that, and also not recuperating those losses by buying heroes instead buying spawns, we see that like Evil has been able to really leverage their mass to make their hero disadvantage actually matter less and push really hard and deny Good pushes really easily. It was a very interesting thing to see. Arvidui goes down in the western side of the map near Barrow Downs. Exo goes in for another actual dive onto the spawn, kills Edmore's, the plot armor really kicking into overdrive, never even being cannon targeted. But again, I don't think it matters. Lothlorien died. That was Nandor here fall. Lothlorien going down, and now it's just Horus. The last spawns on the map are at Helen and Horus spawns. And if they get Moria, that is probably gonna be, again, just cementing their disadvantage. If Amar gets Moria, that's probably like allows Amar to just get straight up 200 supply mass every single cycle once he maxes that. Also, you get Balrog. It's just so hard for Good to really find an escape here. What can Good do? There's so many spawns on the map. Even if they manage to somehow dive into Amar and not losing anything, killing Amar, killing Goblin Town, there's so many spawns left that I don't think that it even matters. Evil still has so much mass. Graham's the backup for Amar. Mount Gundabad and Ugalar are the backup for Goblin Town, and Evil Min has so many investment opportunities to just rebuild their holdings. And at this point, I think Good has kind of given up. They kind of realize the writing is on the wall. They can't really push anymore. They're going to go for a beam win condition, try and drop something maybe, or just go in for a last Hail Mary push. We're going to be seeing them sally forth out of the eastern side of Cause of Doom. I guess kill Goblin Town, perhaps? And yeah, we also might be seeing the PP break a little bit for 5 minutes. But I think Good's just going to want to end the game at this point. And yet they are going to push into this spawn and try and get as many moral victories out of it as they can. Go in and kill as many heroes, as many cannons, as many spawns as they can. And actually though, Probst does not have a lot of heroes, so they can't actually defend as easily as one might think here, even though Good's kind of on their last strands of life. Once Amar gets back, and indeed actually he's not defending, he's actually counter-pushing, killing the rest of Western Gondor. Lord Penogalen does go down to those 2 Probes heroes, and the rest of the Misty Mountain mass. Exodus and Jolol and Klaus taking their last final stand over here. what is going to happen at this point as they run out of mass cover. An goes down in the south side of the map, and they are going in for an attack on I'm Korean, trying to chase him away, but he is just zoning out, not actually making any direct engagements, just wasting the Good's time. And now Good can't even get their honorable death that they wanted. They're just not getting met in battle. Yeah, there's basically no mass left on the Good ball. It's just heroes, and they are being enveloped from every side. Haldir is going to go down here, as well maybe Chieftain of Dunlin. Indeed he does, and Ubafa is going to go down as well. Khan of the Wayne Riders actually has been alive this whole time, I didn't realize. And that is going to be all of Good's heroes dying in this dive fight. And that is GG. First game of this series goes to the Korean team. Let's go on to game number 2. Welcome everyone to the second game of this series between Team KR and Team Europoors. Europoors have lost the first game in this series, so the Team Korea is now up 1-0. The second game will be seeing Europoors on Evil and Korea on Good. And after the very interesting game from last time, let's see where this takes us for this one. The Arfadanian side of the map, we will be seeing Ain't Bad on the Arfadanian faction, of course. Then we do have Probes on Cardalin, Terror, actually going for this cannon early on, interesting, on Western Gondor, and I'm Korean on Elves. Meanwhile, we have a Amar Horus, Jololol Evilman, and Misty Mountains Exodus. Let us begin. This Misty Mountains Exodus is going to be very interesting. I haven't actually seen Amar Exodus for quite a while, so I actually would have liked to see him on Amar, but this is probably the best actual layout that Evil could have gone for this game. And let's see here. Notably though, we have been talking about like a lot of the signature Evil strats from Korean last game, but like honestly, the Good side for Korea, like the Good Korean meta, doesn't quite have as many like super signature, like super expected things as would Evil. Like I guess you can say that they tend to fund Arfadane for Lost Off a little bit more readily, and they tend to get Ninja a little bit earlier, but otherwise it's mostly a blank slate. They play quite standard a lot of the time, but there are like some small discrepancies that are like kind of hard to pinpoint. And very interesting, they are actually going for a double on Troll Shaws. I don't think this is actually like a Korea-specific thing, but very interesting. We are going to probably see a very early clear of the spawn there for. And meanwhile, we do see Jololol's gas upgrade there. That is most likely Khan's Armaments. We do see a probably gold Khan very soon. Where is Khan? Yep, indeed, he did grab Armaments. Tower also pings out that Exodus is going in for a Minhiriaf strip, most likely over here. We might be seeing a patented Minhiriaf into Evil Minhiriaf into Erenborn kill. It's a very, very strong tempo strat that Evils are very good at doing a lot of the time. Meanwhile, Horus is just kind of waiting up top. He might actually be looking to do the 1v1 as well, but I think this is going to be a very rotative game, so I'm not actually sure if the 1v1 is really the best thing to plan around in this case. Horus says he's very confused, not quite sure why. They cooking. I mean, I'm not seeing anything super weird from KR, honestly. I guess there was that double on Troll Shaws, which was interesting, but otherwise, they're playing quite standard so far, at least. We do see a lifeboat come out for Arfadine. Horus coming in on the Western Root Hour spawn once again. And ooh, juicy acid bomb killing quite a lot of heroes, or mass and hero HP right there. Probes is probably going to finish off Troll Shaws in this push over here, and actually Exodus is going to grab a couple of these undefended cannons while Probes is going in on Troll Shaws. Good for him. And now I'm Korean is actually over here defending Eastern Tharbad. Interesting. Where is Glorfindel, by the way? I'm not quite sure. He was up top. Maybe he got missed in a recall.
Anytime you're ready.
Meanwhile, we do have Exodus coming in on the northern side of the North Downs, coming in on a pretty standard rotate from the Misty Mountains. I think they're not showing their cards yet, not going in for like a super concentrated plan just yet. Oop, Jolo recalling in again, going in on Troll Shaws. I guess he's noticed that there's a bit of emphasis on Troll Shaws this game, so he thinks it might be a good idea to delay a bit more than he normally would. Meanwhile, he's actually recalling in to attack a left Nui over here. Ain't Bad does have his ARB resting over here. The good team has their ARB defense network set up. And ooh, that healer barely makes it out alive on Horus. Elves is just kind of early on defending a lot more than is normal, I guess. But I guess there's not a lot of other things that Elves would be doing here. And Exodus, we does actually show his Fire Drake going in for a early Scappa gas. This is an interesting gas over here. We definitely don't see this a lot in the North American meta at the very least. Scappa first gas is generally very uncommon. Let's see what Evil is actually trying to do here. If this is a Scorba game, I would love that, but I don't think they're going for memes right now. I think they're playing very seriously to win. So because of that, I'm actually very curious what Exodus's plans for Scappa are going to be. Now, once again, he's going in on Minhiref, keeping it open and stripped. Once it's mostly stripped and they can kind of guarantee a kill of it on the next push, they might be going in on a Evil Minhiref drop into Airborne kill. Oop, Durin has lost his shield. He has to be careful there. Make sure he doesn't lose Durin to cannons for no reason. And now we call out. Exodus just going in for some cannon strips. Pretty good, pretty good. The western side of Cardo is quite exposed now. Eastern Tharbad has been taken out by Evil as well. A little bit of extra feed in the pocket of Evil. Dolo might be able to grab his Naz and be able to get a Minhiref Evil drop very soon afterwards. And very, very big push on Horus. He has saved up the mass. He needs to take this spawn out in the 1v1, but actually Korean comes in to interfere with the 1v1. Horus's plans are a little bit dashed because of Elves really keeping his team together very closely this game. Exodus now going in on actually left Nui. Meanwhile, Jolol is going in on Aman Lahat. Red does respawn down here to chase away the evil forces at left Nui, but that is going to be Aman Lahat partially going down here, as nobody is here to defend that spawn. Arrows does come out on the Goblin King. Exo does call out that the CD is now off, and Horus now is just camping out here, wanting to go for the spawn, but Korean just kind of sitting around, making sure he can't really do much. Korean definitely has been doing some interesting things this game positionally, pushing a lot with his team. Meanwhile, Horus now probably has an opening go for the spawn here, but that is also going to probably be a early Eastern Rudar kill. Indeed, Elves and Cardalin going in, second spawn coming in, or stun I mean, and that is probably going to be spawn dying. Oh, Jolo does actually recall in though, and Miaglar almost gets caught in the crossfire and taken out, but not quite. Jolo has been having to recall in to defend himself quite a lot this game though, so that might not be the best sign for him in the future, as Exo has to do the majority of the lifting here to actually get damage in on the miners. Also playing very riskily, upgrading Scaffold while doing a ton of rotates. Typically, you won't be seeing people do this, but I think Exo is taking that calculated risk. Western Rudar is going to now go down a little bit late because of the constant interference by Elves, but that is going to put Horus's plans into motion a little bit more, as he can now push down North Downs and then Fornas. Golguldur Naz has come out. What has Horus gotten? He has gotten Jindur. Minaglar goes down at Tharbad to a Jololol attack. I think he was still low from the earlier engagement at Eastern Rudar. Now Terror does actually ping the ARP here, not quite sure why, but that is going to be a free EK for Exodus. Exodus kind of noticing that Korean is MIA, kind of defending his allies, taking the advantage of that opportunity, taking out the spawn while it is undefended. Now we do see a Courier. I think everybody here is actually playing very standard games. A lot of super meta buys, just like the standard heroes you would kind of see in a super competitive game coming out here. Now Horus killing this cannon over here, kind of going for, I believe, the southern strip of Fornos, interestingly. I'm not sure if that's the best idea, considering he like knows elves has been rotating a lot around here. Maybe, I think, like broadly, generally speaking, the southern strip of Fornos is a bit easier for allies to defend than is the northern strip. But then again, now that Lossoff has come down, maybe I should take those words back. And with Exodus and Joel coming in, we are going to have a surprise triple going in on Fornos here. Goods Arb is over here to respond, but I'm Korean's Arb might actually be getting intercepted here, and indeed it does. That means there's going to be no Elven support for this triple, and he'll also dying in that actual push on Scaffa as Exodus recalls over to defend his gas spawn. And with no Elven support here, and Exodus's Arb still in the area, that might be a actual one push on Fornos. Good shield by Ain't getting that Morgamir kill. But with this last cannon going down and of much of the HP remaining on Evil's heroes still alive, what was that? Fornos is going to go down in this surprisingly clean kill outside of Fornos, Morgamir on Fornos. That Elven Arb kill by Joel really swung it, and Evil might be actually taking this and immediately turning it into a Numenos kill as well, but not quite, as Probes arrives to actually chase it off. What a swing in the direction of Evil. That was a one push triple on Fornos. That is not a good sign for Good, especially since Fornos was being gassed here. Fornos dying this early on is really rough, but Morgamir dying does actually stem a little bit of the wounds that Good is facing here, at least. Now what we might be seeing, I assume, is maybe an Evil Minhirief drop, although Exodus might not need it given that he's over here probably just to kill Erenborn. Meanwhile, we also see a Dokeldor double by Good. Actually, no, a triple by Good. Good is responding to the Evil side's actual triples with their own. Ooh, I'm Korean, almost losing Caliborn to cannons, but Good reaction time getting that blink into position. And Horus actually comes in to go for a triple on Barrow Downs, or double on Barrow Downs. I don't think Joel is here. Tons and tons of super heavy rotative action this game. Lots of commitment, and oh, that hero recall barely too soon to actually, or barely getting his heroes out of there in time to avoid being ganked by Witch King there. But with no actual allies in the area, with the Elven Arb being down, I think this is going to be a Barrow Downs kill. Fun card all. What are they trying to get though? There's nothing to buy on Barrow Downs at this point. Really, cards should be sending that mineral count back over to elves to get their second Arb back. That is a Barrow's kill, that is an Eren kill. This is a lot of tempo that Evil is getting here. Joel now going for the Elven strat of dropping into Aquilon. Does he see this Arb? Yes, he does, but unfortunately for him, the actual Good team does notice it as well and tells tells Ain't Bad to move it. But I think the Evil team has kind of telegraphed that they're going to be going for Western Gondor next, perhaps. Good is trying to compensate, going for Dunland here in that triple. Do remember that Scaffa has gone down, so Exo's actual mass count is a little bit weaker than otherwise would be. It did get punished a little bit, and I don't think Exo swapped off his gas. At the very least, he got the second or third gases in. So a bit of his gas has been denied. But it is still very early in the game, so Exo does not lose too much time by having to swap his gas off of his spawn. Obviously, though, he is going to have a harder time actually pushing by himself. Fund Evil all. What is their next buy going to be? Possibly Evil Lost. It is actually open right now. And Indian Joel is coming in, walking by the area. I think we are going to be seeing a Evil Lost rebuy right now. Double Oz coming out very soon, and indeed Exo grabs the Ice King, Horus grabs Korahil, the Blind Sorcerer, and that is once again a really big power spike for Evil. And from here, they kind of have a blank slate in terms of strats they can go for. They have a lot of good positioning on the map to kind of focus on their next actual enemy faction and then grab spawns or heroes in their corpse. What is Good's response gonna be to this? Because this is not the best actual position for them. They have lost a lot of resources to a super high tempo Evil. Now granted, Good has been very high tempo as well. They've been doing a lot of very high octane actual triples and doubles as well. But they just got their Evil Ost drop there, losing them a valuable spawn and giving Evil a power spike that could have been denied. Now we're going to be seeing a triple on Western Gondor, and although Ain't Bad is here to defend it, I don't know how much Good can actually defend here. We do see that Evil is ignoring Left Nui. Generally speaking, this is the right play. Left Nui just is kind of a waste of time a lot of time because it's very easy to just kill it in one push when you come back anyways. And now that giant triple onto Western Gondor. If Good doesn't get here in time with another faction to defend, Western Gondor is going to be losing so much. But Elves has actually lost their ARB and they still are not getting a second one. No defensive rotates from the Elven player means this Western Gondor is left out to dry. Ain't Bad has to recall out. I'm not even sure why. I think he just got cornered and wanted to relocate. But now that is Eric going down. We might be seeing literally a straight push from Pinef Galen over to Lamadon if something does not happen to the Evil players. Horus is losing a lot of HP to these cannons over here, wasting a little bit of tempo. So I think they actually are going to be pushed back before Lamadon goes down. Smaug does actually go down to arrows, but Argoleb does get traded out for Smaug. And now everybody is recalling out on the Evil side, but that is a lot of bases dying in one push for Good. Their defensive rotating network has really collapsed with the death of that ARB by Illuminos. And I'm Korean, is he biting his second ARB? He still hasn't gotten his second ARB. Terror is funding Elf All. Maybe this is their sign that they need to get that second ARB, but that second ARB needed to have been in production 8 minutes ago. The second you notice that Evil is doing a ton of super high octane rotates and you lose your ARB as Elves, you need to immediately rebuy that. And now we are going to see it being rebought, but the damage has already been done. So much of Good's strength has been stripped out. Cardalin, Western Gondor, Arfidane. That's going to be very difficult for Good to come back here, even if the losses can kind of be stemmed now that Elves is getting their second ARB. And look at this, Ernir actually is going for Rally despite Lamadon being so exposed. Barely not losing the Lord of Pain of Galen there as well to Angmar. Mirkwood does go down, and once again, a one push. Evil is really going hands off with some of the sweatiest rotates I have seen in some time. This is a lot of, well, you do see these rotates quite often, but the speed at which they're doing them, the coordination that they're employing in their execution, it is just something I have not seen in a while. They are playing very, very sweatily. They are playing this to win. We are probably going to see another triple on Western Gondor at some point. They do, I think they have noticed maybe Rally, so there is definitely a huge incentive for them to finish off Lamadon to deny that Rally mass. Miflon is going to go down soon, and with Miflon going down, a potential Galleys of Umbar play would be super high value right now. They just want to swing by to kill Left Nui, and then that will be it. And that would be a 5k hero and 4 mini bases around the map that slowed Goods down even more. And also, Wang Rider encampment still hasn't died all game. This is not a good position to be in as Good. They really need to take a super decisive hero fight, just completely declaw the Evils as they killed their entire hero balls, and they might still stand a chance. But with no really good opportunities that I can see for Good to do that, I think they might be in a tough situation here, to say the least. Fun Amar all. What are they doing for Horus? Maybe going for Evil Fornos drop. That would be a pretty nice position for them right now. And indeed they are. It is also going to force an 8 by recall. Not really that big of a deal. But also a Palando by the Great Goblin. Misty Mountains grabbing a blue wizard onto their ball. Really also swinging things around for Evil. So many power spikes are coming in onto Evil because they are getting money so fast. Meanwhile, Good is just not really even able to farm the minerals they need to get tempo. Look at all of these triples. I think we haven't actually seen an attack by Evil in the last like 5-10 minutes that hasn't been a double or triple. Numanos going down, Losoff going down, earlier North Downs going down. Arpadang is being killed as we speak, and with just so little resistance from Good, their positioning is just not enough to actually cover these. They're going in on Goblin Town, but Exo has not gassed Goblin Town. Oh no, I think he has gassed Goblin Town. Wait, has he? No, he hasn't. They're not. Those are not coming out of the ground. He's just gassing Mount Gundabad. This might work against maybe a Korean Misty Mountains, but with no gas in Goblin Town, this is not really a substantial push. Elves cannot be wasting time on a push like this right now. And Good is just really falling apart at the seams. With Hills of Evendom quite close to dying as well, that will be Arpadang running out of spawns except for Monsool. Push into Loft. I don't think that's really the play right now. There's kind of not a need for it yet. It's just kind of still requires too much strength on Evil's part. Agadar joins the actual hero ball of Amar very nicely for them. And Jololo notices a Terror Arb, makes it recall back, just harassing there. And if we look at it, 30-minute mark, and Evil Min is still super healthy. Wayne, Enderwife, Central, Direct Viewer, and now Balkoff. Not a good sign for Good, considering that a lot of their spawns are now dead. And look at this, a push on Khazad-dûm might be honestly might even be a one push depending on how Good defends this. This double with a lot of air heroes supporting might be able to just take out the spawn from the top without even needing to retreat and come back a second time. And indeed, Rogash's Boulders finished off the job. That is a one push on Khazad-dûm as well. We've been seeing quite a lot of one pushes by Evil this game. And just absolutely decimating Good's position. And I don't really think Good is playing that poorly. They are not losing heroes super easily, and they have been responding very nicely with their own rotates, but really just they made a core strategic lapse and given Evil that kind of 8-minute period where our Elves was on one Arb and they could just kind of go ham. And Evil still has an initiative despite Elves getting their second Arb back. They are still just not responding to Evil fast enough, and it is just not a good time for them. Now we might be seeing a Black Ships of Umbar come out as well with Helland and Lefnui and Londyre and Miflon dead. Exos are being chased away, but Jololo and Exo are coming in now with a synchronized recall, chasing away Terror. Now Korean is in the area, and he has shown himself to the Evil factions. He is going to be here to actually threaten a pincer, but Jololo might be able to just 1v1 Western Gondor to kill Lambadon here if he plays his cards right. Because Rally has not been maxed yet. Horus is forced to recall his art, but not before he gets his entire actual army back. And right here, I think what they're doing here is waiting for Evil to get in position and then dropping Black Ships so they get this forward position at Helen so that they can finish off Lambadon. This is that Lambadon kill that they have been talking about. They are going to get it, and do we see that horn go off? The Black Ships of Umbar are coming in very soon. And look at this endgame hero fight. Ufa getting super close up, but not actually being targeted down. Instead, just kind of attacking the whole time with no... and just firing on Malvigil the whole time without getting any damage in return. Karfang, or not Karfang, Malvigil, Korean, Arbalek, Karfang are going down with no losses from the Evil side. Korean just doesn't actually have the mass cover to engage from the top here. And with that kill on Lambadon, Good calls GG. A super decisive game by Evil. Tons and tons of very, very well executed rotates. GG, and the second game goes to Team Europoors. Let's go on to the third game in this series. Hello everyone, this is the third game in this series between Team KR and Team Europoors. We are now 1-1 after an explosive second game with Europoors on evil, winning over Team KR on good with all good spawns except 3 or 4 dead by minute 30. That was quite the interesting game to watch. Insanely fast-paced. I was super lost the whole time, just trying to keep up with the action that was going on, just like getting words mixed up here and there, just like trying to keep it all in my mind. But without further ado, we are now on to this third game of the series, and the stakes are quite high. People are playing very seriously, playing to win. We are going to be seeing a super, super competitive last game, I would assume. Let us begin. Now, I believe Probes has been subbed out by Evil Min, also known as Beast, for the Korean team. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of a change in the player mentality, possibly. Evil Min will be starting on Cardinal as the KR team has been assigned good this game, as well as Inkbad on Arf, also known as Soldier. I'm Korean on Elves, and finally Terror on Western Gondor. Meanwhile, we have Jolo on Evil, Horus on Aymar, and Exodus on Misty Mountain. Same comp as last game. We do see a early double onto LoTR from both sides. Elves going in on Kamul, but Horus actually single recalls Kamul out, and that is a super clean kill of the spawn, with also the 4 cannons around it killing as well, just for that extra bit of speed. And Arf loses their transport while it's going to LoTR. I think it was just moved a little bit too late for them, and that will be ganked for. That's a gank for Evil. That's not a good sign for good already. Their rotating power already kind of into the gutter. Not ideal at all. Meanwhile, Card and Elves are over here by Eastern Tharbad. I'm Korean is defending near over here. Meanwhile, Karn Doom is being actually stripped a little bit by Inkbad, given that Horse is kind of absent right now. Meanwhile, though, Jolo and Exodus going in on the left noise spawn now, with Horus MIA actually. Actually, no, he's just by Mount Graham. We might be seeing a repeat of the last game here. Exo and Jolo going in on left noise doubled, and also LoTR dying early like that does lend me to believe that Evil's gonna go for the same kind of super high risk but high commitment but possibly high payout rotate strat that they were doing last game, and it definitely did pay off for them a lot, mostly because of some really key ARP kills. And as we saw with Arpadane there, they do have a key ARP kill that they can kind of capitalize on. So let's see if Left Wing goes down. I think Exodus is just going to finish off that spawn. Probably good for them. Terror is trying to stay and fight, but with 2 heroes here, or 2 hero balls here, there's not a lot that they can do. And yep, Exodus is just going to have Rogash kill off Left Nui here. Honestly, it might be slightly better to stop attacking with 4 kills so the splash damage claims those 2 cannons, but actually it's not. It doesn't matter actually. There's enough damage left that it doesn't matter. And now Left Nui is down. A bit of extra feed for Exodus. Nice little bit of progress on Western Gondor. Not really that important for a potential triple on the rest of the spawns, because you can just kind of bypass Left Nui, but regardless, pretty good. Inkbad actually going for Western Rudar call to arms. He went for that first gas on the spawn. That is very interesting. It does give you quite a lot in the early game, to be fair, and does slow down the Aymar player quite a lot as well. They are also going for troll shots early, or killed troll shots early, so they maybe are going for a Eastern Rudar buy, for like a Liberate buy here. But Jolo is in the area, so we might be seeing a triple on the spawn this game as well, to kind of deny their attempted Liberate, if the Korean team actually goes that far. Now granted, Liberate generally is a very high risk strategy. It's a super exposed spawn, and it kind of does take a while for it to actually pay off and get into those really strong mass tiers. It does also it is also like very easily telegraphed. So what might be happening is that it's not a full Liberate build and it's just a Call to Arms buy, which is arguably okay for Arfidang. It is kind of expensive, but not too expensive, and it does slow down Aimar into 1v1 quite a lot. It's when it gets doubled that the value kind of dissipates because the mass doesn't matter that much. Walter does actually go down the south to tower in that 1v1. Nice pickup by Western Gondor here, and we were also seeing I'm Korean go in with the Cardinal player to try and kill Eastern Rudar early, so that might be opening up or threatening a Liberate. Let's see if they actually do commit to one later on this game. The fact that Western Rudar is not still being gassed makes me believe that it's probably not going to be a Liberate. It's just like a diversionary tactic. But it might be paying off for good as well, because it will kind of keep Evil on edge, thinking that it might be a possible Liberate, and have them play according to that. Meanwhile, Exodus is over by Mirkwood, going for a traditional northern strip, it does seem. Some of these cannons have been killed already over here. And despite ARF losing their second ARB, Evil is not actually capitalizing on it that much. They're not doing a ton of rotates, at least not as many as I would expect. We are seeing like a kind of exposed Western Gondor here. I'm Korean's ARB is not really anywhere to be found. It's actually resting by Kaza Doom? Yeah, Kaza Doom. Although it is a little bit open. You have to be careful about that. Meanwhile, Eastern Darbad will probably be going down in this push as Jolo kills the spawn with his heroes. Walter being dead is a little bit annoying for him, I suppose, but it's probably not going to delay it too much. Meanwhile, we do see a double on the last call to arms, Western Gondor being defended by two factions on the good side. This push is probably going to be stalled in the tracks. Most of the actual hillmen here are also not actually that damaged, which is good for Arfidang. Just extra value out of that buy, just delaying Aimar even more. This has already delayed the kill by 2 minutes, and none of the cannons have actually died yet, so it's probably going to delay for another, I'd assume, 6 to 8 as well, assuming that there's no decisive rotate that kind of kills it immediately. Meanwhile, we actually do see elves going in onto Karn Doom up here, and the western cannons have actually already been stripped. You do see a Black Numenorian here. Is that actually 2 gas? Yeah, I think Horus has committed 2 gas into Karn Doom already. He has since stopped gassing the spawn, seeing that it is being pushed a bit, but the damage might already be done. If he loses that spawn, he is 2 gases behind, and he's actually rotating out onto Western Gondor as the evil team tries for another triple, just like last game. But they are at the risk of losing a lot more than they did last game, because Good and Cardo, or Earth and Cardo and Elves are in position to be pushing Evil as they are doing this. But if Evil does this fast enough, they are probably going to kill more than they lose, as the Elven Arb is nowhere to be found. Arfidang would normally be here to defend this, but obviously Arfidang has lost their second Arb early this game and it has not gotten it back yet. That is probably going to be Eric going down, but also Evil Men Arb up by Eastern Rudar going down as well. Chieftain Dunlin is a little bit low, Smaug is a little low, there's a lot of heroes here a little bit low, but again, there's just no support coming in by the good team onto Western Gondor. What is happening to Terror? He is being left behind to kind of die here, doing his best to delay his death as much as possible, but indeed, it probably doesn't matter in the end. Khan almost actually dying, but of course, he is not going to be finished because of the Adderhill missile deletion change. He's actually on 100 HP, so if the missiles actually traveled across the map there, he would have died. But with the deletion change, that's no longer an option. Definitely not ideal for Good. They did grab Eastern Rudar and a bunch of Karn, but in the end, for 3 actual spawns like that, and Western Gondor completely opened up, I don't think that was worth it. Especially since Wainwriter's still open, so or Wainwriter's still alive, so Western Gondor can't really rebuild by going in on Orphank and Amon Laha. Liberation actually does get bought. I was, I guess, wrong. Although it was kind of an easy liberation for Good, to be fair. Evil did do that triple and leave Eastern Rudar kind of open. Now, I'm not sure if Western Rudar is going to start getting gassed at this point by Bad. Probably not necessarily a good choice still. We're going to have to see what he does. Getting Hill Chief would be pretty nice for him, but it is going to take quite a while for the gases to come in for him to do that. Kill what? Minhiraf. Oh, they might be going for the actual Minhiraf into Eremborn push. Bilal and Exodus are going in for this double. If Evilman doesn't react in time, he is going to lose his ARB. Ain't bad. Triple pings it, but it is not actually fast enough. The ARB does go down to those 2 hero balls as the North Horus pushes in a little bit on the actual Western Rudar spawn. And actually, as this is happening, the Consolidate upgrade does come out for Cardinal as Cardinal is about to lose 2 spawns and possibly a 3rd. Not the best timing for this. Really, the second that happened, I would have tried to cancel Consolidate immediately because Minhiraf is almost certainly dead. Erenborn is now almost certainly dead. So the Consolidate value really comes down to Last Bridge and Palindor and Londyre, none of which are really safe enough to really be bought. Big value for Evil here. They are going to get the actual patented Erenborn kill, of course. And Jolo recalls out. Artigor actually hasn't been bought yet. I think they did that before they got the funds to get Artigor. They wanted to get that temple, get that push in earlier instead. Meanwhile, Ain't is not actually gassing Western Rudar. He is instead just going for Fornos anyways. It's always very interesting buying Liberate without actually going all in on the gas. Arguably, it's still a good idea if you're under the assumption that you're going to lose the spawn at some point to a triple. Huntmaster does go down to the center of the map as Jolo swings in on him and murders him. Not ideal for Cardinal. Cardinal already is quite hurting. Meanwhile, Lambadon is the last remaining core Western Gondor spawn, so we are going to be seeing a very weak set of miners this game. We are going to have to, or Good is going to have to depend on kind of a Arphaning carry because Arphaning is very untouched at this point. But given the kind of state and the south of the map, I think Arf does need to take some risks, probably try to gas the Western Rudar spawn and get kind of value out of that. Oop, Dunlin is being attacked over here. They might be trying to deny an Evil Lost by. Oop. Yes, both heroes do get out in time. No heroes will be dying to there. And, ooh, that is a big mind patch over here. If Exo isn't careful, he might be losing the Grey Goblin here. But no, there is enough mass over there to actually tank it. Osir is quite low. He has to be very careful about it. But Evilman doesn't actually notice, of course, and moves Osir out of the way. Good for him. Meanwhile, Wainwright and Cam is finally being pushed down a little bit late, but probably still a valid target at this point. Once Dunlin goes down, they are probably going to want to buy Oz to deny the actual Darbad into Evil Ost play by Evil. Ooh, Ardor coming out does slow down Evil Ost a little bit as well, though. Fun Evil all. I think they're still trying to gear up for an Evil Ost buy, but Good almost certainly knows. Oh, that was a very interesting Witch King placement. That was weird. But they are going in for the triple on Darbad now. Elves is here to defend. And Arf is meanwhile pushing Mount Graham while Aimar is down here for this triple. Good is making very good progress actually defending this triple with only 2 factions. And Western Gondor, I'm not sure where Western Gondor is actually here. He needs to be doing something in this time while this triple is diverting Evil's attention. If they don't kill Dunlin in time, they are going to risk allowing Evil Lost to come out for Evil. Gore killed the Goblin King super low, Grey Goblin super low, but with that spawn dying, Jolo is about to buy it, but actually no, I forgot. Western Rudar's still alive and is fortified with Liberate and Cult Alarms. Now Graham is probably going to die soon as well, given that Horus has not been here to defend it from the frontal cannons being stripped out. And really, what is mainly kind of unfortunate. Ooh, Joel might be losing his hero there, but not quite. Terror just doesn't have the DPS. If he had an extra hero, you actually would have gotten him, but no, not quite. But I really think Liberate plus Call to Arms is not doing as much as it seems right here, because although Evil can't really push here, they don't need to. They could just ignore it for now. And Inkbad is not gassing the spawns. He's not getting that actual power value out of the spawns. All he's getting is kind of the position, which is pretty strong regardless, but kind of expensive for what it's doing. And given the state of the miners, once again, I would say it's probably worth it to try and risk it and try and gas it so you can grab that really strong mask, grab that hero, and try and become the late game carry. Right now, he's just going for 4-Nos gas, which again is quite strong, but not necessarily the best. Ginger almost going down there. Nice shield by Inkbad. Very, very close. I think if Volley came out, he would have died. But I'm not sure if Volley's actually off CD right now. And meanwhile, Elves is actually coming in from the south. They are going for kind of a base race situation, trying to kill off Aimar early while the miners are dying. But with Beast being pushed down by Exodus and Jolol here, if he gets no support, he will be losing Barrow Downs. And indeed, yep, the spawn is probably going to go down, and that is going to be quite unfortunate because at this point, his value from Consolidate is nearly 0, and that was a lot of money that he missed out on that could have been used in other things or to support his team. Just really bad timing on his part. I think he thought he would have been kind of untouched for the game, but the second he got it, the Minhirief drop came in. Inkbad now getting Lords of Arphadyne very soon. His mass is going to be very strong here. And let's see if he's going to upgrade Western Rudar next. But at this point, with so many of the miter spawns being killed, indeed, Western Rudar is the next target on the chopping block for Exodus and Horus. Now, these last call to arms zealots have delayed a little bit, but at this time, their time is nigh, and they have all been claimed by the Grim Spectre of Death, as Exodus and Horus keep pushing in on the spawn. Now, the core cannons of Western Rudar are still alive. That is a very, very dense cannon layout, so it is very difficult for Evil to actually push here without a super firm commitment that is going to delay the death of the spawn a little bit more. Now, meanwhile, the eastern side of the map, we do see actually a push on Scaffold by Western Gondor. Not a lot of progress there, honestly, but a little bit of an effort by Terror. Honestly, at this point, I would probably grab Captain of the Guard from Lamadon, so it doesn't get denied. Terror would have done really nicely to get a little bit of extra DPS on his ball. Like, he would have claimed the Ice King kill earlier if he had that extra DPS. Meanwhile, Elves is pushing over here, gets chased away by Misty Mountains. Arp is pushing up here, kind of diverting Horus's attention. Fund West all. Kurnir, okay. I guess they're gonna let the captain get denied. Honestly, not necessarily a big deal. Honestly, still arguably good. It would have been really nice for him to actually grab Autonomy here, but he has gassed Lamadon enough that that's no longer an option. Terror is still going to have a presence in the game because of his mass over here. Really, I would have stopped gassing Lamadon by now, though. Not sure why he's still gassing the spawn at this point. We do see Drapior gases. This is a really, really strong mass that can build up and become a really strong one push at some point in the game. Rovanian actually gets bought by the Western Gondor player wanting to rebuild up here, but since Fransburg is locked behind Eric, he is not going to be able to coast off of Fransburg into a late game. Just chill, EM wins this, and they probably do. EM is not going to die without Arthadinian and Elven intervention because of the sorry state of the miners right now. But Mootlord does go down to that cannon target and to that recall. Very, very nice pickup for Terror. Even though Lemon is probably dead next push, that is a nice way to slow down Evilman's progress. Evilman meaning, well, Jolol. Meanwhile, Western Rudar is being pushed down by Exodus and Horus at the same time. Confused comes down, and all of the splash damage comes down from Brogash. We are going to probably see the spawn die, but actually, no, not quite. Glorfindel does actually get chased over here, and he does not go down. Terror has arrived at the Western Theater right here to defend Western Gondor, or Rudar, from the actual combined forces of Horus and Exodus, and that triple defense by good does mean there is going to be no actual progress made by Horus or Exodus. But the thing is, this might be a little bit of an over response because that means Evilman can't just 1v1. Lebanon does go down, and now Western Gondor is left down to Gladden, Laha, and Orphank. Still the potential for plenty of mass generation there, but definitely not your standard set of core Western Gondor spawns. So we're actually recalling in over here to finish off Mount Graham. Very interesting. Elves is here to zone. Honestly, I don't think that was really necessary. He could have got killed it normally anyways, but still, a little bit of a fancy kill right there. And a lot of actual aggression in the northern side of the map here. We are seeing a very unusual and very interesting game. It is not every day when you see dead miners and a ton of actual battle in the north side of the map before the 30-minute mark. And we might be seeing an Edmore's kill as well. What spawn has Exo been gassing? I think he's been gassing, I'm not actually sure. Has he been gassing Edmore's? If he's been gassing Edmore's, this is going to be a very rough loss for him. But we also do see fire drakes as well. So, oh, has he max Scaffa? Yes, he has. He has max Scaffa. That's actually going to be a big problem for Good to actually try and fight. What is the next gas for Ain't Bad, by the way? I'm not sure what Ain't Bad is gassing right now. I don't think he's actually gassing anything right now. I think it's a little bit late for a Western RotWK gas at this point, though. It might be too hard for him to actually get that set up. Biflon does go down to the Jololol focus over here. Just Good did not have the space to try and defend that. Lower Pin of Galen actually does go down as well in that engagement. Morgimer is being chased, but he does, of course, turn around and instead trades Witch King for Morgimer. Probably not the best play for himself. Meanwhile, Exodus is being stalled at Western RotWK. Now finally all of the outer cannons on the spawn are being stripped down, so the spawn is probably not long for this world, and that might be risking a evil Os drop very soon if no Good faction finds the time to kill Dunland and grab Os so that they can deny it in time. We are going to be seeing two Arbs, or two Nazes, come into the evil balls. But so far, this has been a very tight defense by Good. But with this little bit of an opening, they might be losing Western RotWK. Not quite. But Elves is over here being pincered by two factions. He has to retreat. This will allow Horus to zone out Elves while Exo finishes off the spawn. Smile getting very, very low. Possibly in arrow range if a couple more autos come in on him, but not quite enough. Horus again attacking, but he's actually kind of low on mass. He doesn't have a ton of stuff to cover himself, but Western RotWK does actually go down, and now Evil Os is being threatened. Good needs to immediately get there to deny it, but Jolol is already in position. That is going to be enslaved RotWK and refugees coming out, and with that, double Naz is going to be upon us indeed. The last two Nazgul and that giant power spike does come into the evil balls, and that is not ideal for Good whatsoever. This is not good for Good. Aduna Uva for Exo. No, for Horus. Wait, no, hold on. What is that in reference to? Does Exo have Aduna Uva? Oh, he does. He got, okay. Exo luck, of course. Always gets Aduna, and getting a Uva here is also really good for him. Evilman really struggling here from not having Huntmaster. He really can't really do as much as he might hope with just Minaglar and a low range Austere. Really, that money that was kind of lost from Consolidate could have been really, really strong elsewhere. But actually, Volley might be finishing off the Chieftain of Dunland, but that double recall comes in to save him. Indeed, I think Volley would have killed him, but that double recall makes it so that the arrows get deleted. Aladdin is being focused down over here, but Elves is over here to respond, but I don't think it's that big a deal to defend the spawn, given that it's going to die very soon anyways, and Franzberg is not an option with Eric dead anyways as well. Idril does go down over here as Dunland dies. Evilman swings by and kills him, and also is kind of a little bit too late for a Dunland kill to be that valuable for Good anyways. Meanwhile, Elves is just trying to defend the ruins of the Gladden spawn at this point. Gladden is going to go down here, and Terror is now reverted over to Lorfank and Lahad. He has lost Lord of Pin of Galen and Adrahil, so he is in kind of a sorry state right now, but he still does have Frumgar, I think. Though he actually has Marhuini, he hasn't had the money yet for Frumgar. Actually, Dibrodil does get bought. Again, I don't like this spy a lot of the time. I don't think it does as much as good hopes in defending the spawn. It's just too expensive for what it does in actual delaying. But also, we do see Soldier over here, super strong right now. He has a lot of feed, and because of that, he's very strong. He has a lot of mass to work with. Can threaten the evil players over here and actually divert a whole faction to defend him. Once Amar dies, Horus is going to be in kind of a sorry state. He doesn't have Witch King after all. Jololol does get full funded by Misty Mountains. He is kind of the carry here. I think that is going to be right. Inkbad is in a, Jololol is in a very strong state with very few heroes spawns dead for an Evilman at this stage of the game. Hellborn does get killed, being a little bit too far to the left over here by Goblin Town. First big loss on I'm Korean's ball, I'm pretty sure, and which is not going to be ideal for the late game. Terror actually recalls into the assist Ain't Bad over here with this push onto the Amar playing spawn, but with Exodus in the area, they are going to have to retreat if they don't want to risk fighting a much stronger enemy. We also do see Numenos being killed over here by Jololol. That actually does kind of expose the western side of Fornos. There are actually not a lot of cannons from the western side, so we might be seeing actually something very rare, a western side strip of Fornos, just killing these like 5 cannons and killing it. Typically how evil Fornos dies, not good Fornos. Meanwhile, down south, we do see Evilman trying to poke away at the actual center Evilman spawns. Joel has had comparatively very little focus all game in terms of that, so he is very healthy in terms of mass. Exo is now on defensive duty, while Horus is assigned to rotating duty. This is kind of a very airtight situation for Evil, because despite Amar being kind of down their frontier spawns, one Evil spawn camping over here is really all they need to try and defend this area. So because of that, Good is going to have to really skill diff Evil when trying to push over here, because they don't have a lot of good options going south. Otherwise, Evil can push into Arfadane and kind of start stripping away at the last truly strong Good faction. Although arguably, I'm Korean is still in a pretty decent situation. Horus actually recalling in onto the Numenos area. They're going for a double on Fornos, trying to kill it from kind of the undefended western side of it. Meanwhile, Exodus is going to take this opportunity to go for Khazad-dûm and try and take him out. But also, Evilman Arb does get recalled on by Terror. Good positioning by Terror, going in for that flank. Ardogor also goes down while the Evilman is panicking, trying to recall out to that pincer. Good play by Good. Nicely positioned, nicely communicated. Now, Exodus is over here by Khazad-dûm, trying to kill off the spawn. Elves has to respond over here. And now, Exodus is forced back a little bit, but I'm Korean really does not compare that well strength-wise to Exodus. He still needs to play kind of conservatively here. Meanwhile, Horus has arrived with his ARB, is going to be recalling very soon, I assume. Actually, no, he does not recall in. He actually just moves back. He has to be diverting his attention over into the north to chase away Arfadane. I think I would have preferred having Gandalf on Arfadane instead of Gandalf on I'm Korean. Because at this point, there's not a ton of options for scaling. They can't grab Lossoff, and that's about it for Arfadane. And with his actual mass situation, they need him to have a lot more resources than he actually does. I actually wouldn't mind a Guerrilla Training buy in this case. I think it would actually give a lot of value. Meanwhile, I'm Korean and Terror are defending Khazad-dûm over here from this combined assault by Horus and Exodus. Ooh, Morgan Ray kind of low there. I think if I'm Korean turned a little bit there, he actually could have gotten him. And Jindor being chased down into the spawn of Dogaldor here does actually go down. Another hero kill onto the Horus hero ball by Good. But also Exodus going in on the Fornos spawn, going in for that right click, going in for the dive. They need to be very careful about the continued attacks from the western side by Evil this game. Look at this. Evil has cleared up this whole path onto Fornos, not even bothering trying to attack it from the eastern side. where it has a few extra defenses. Good has to be very careful about their vision from this point on, where it's making sure that Evil does not have a lot of opportunities to try and go for a cheeky dive. If they find this Exo Arb over here and chase it away, that could be quite good for them, for sure. Does this scream an Elos spy? I'm not sure. It kind of dies easily. It's like too exposed. They're not going to be able to defend it. So I'm not sure if it's an Elo spy. I think it's just like a vision diff. They just need to look at it harder. Horus loses his home Arb. That's a huge deal. Meanwhile, though, we are seeing Exo float his Arb back in. If they don't see this, they are going to risk losing Fornos. But this might actually be a trade for Aymar. Actually, another Evilman Arb actually goes down to Beast. He is roving around here like a terrorist, trying to kill off these spawns or Arbs as they are being exposed. Ooh, Evil Fornos does get dropped in on the good factions. Arfiding Special Transport dies, and that is a huge swing. Inkbad's giant advantage this game has now all but vaporized because they did not see Exodus in time. Trying to go for that base race with Aymar, but it just was not enough. Horus is still able to very easily defend the spawn, not really losing that much ground. And now, Inkbad's mass, this is the last of it. Once he loses this ball of mass, he's not going to be able to recuperate it. Those lords are not going to come back. I'm Korean killing off Goblin Town, not a terrible kill, although it doesn't have a lot of gas, so it doesn't do a lot in terms of alleviating Exodus's mass strength. Meanwhile, Jolo is coming in from the south to finish off the last Cardinal hero spawn in terms of the last bridge. Meanwhile, Fornos captured is going to go down, so maybe that cheeky drop of Fornos wasn't the most impactful, although it did actually secure that Arbiter kill. Agandar does get bought, so they do not manage to deny Agandar. Not ideal for Good. Again, Evil scaling up their hero ball is not really ideal for them. Meanwhile, we do see Exodus over here. His mass is just getting really scary. As Gundabad gets maxed, paired with all of that Scaffa gas, he's not going to be able to do much. Good is not going to be able to do much in terms of fighting their army head on. Good's mass generation just not really comparable. Sight to cast Horus, it does seem like the next target for Evil is going to be the Siege of Khazad-dûm. If Jolo loses a few heroes, maybe the miners can kind of gain their footing, and that could leave the Arfidane and Elven players to just play their 1v1s and maybe get a skill diff there. But if that doesn't happen, which is not really guaranteed, I don't really see Good kind of winning this game as the time goes on. Really having that gap in their vision and letting Fornos get dropped like that really kind of sealed their fate. Lossoff being bought here, I'm not sure if it's the safest buy, given that there's not a lot around it covering it, and Inkbad has to be moving around, but I guess it's kind of his last remaining viable option. Meanwhile, Eastern Rudar Liberated has actually lived for quite a while. It's lived until this stage of the game, which is kind of astounding. But I think EM is going to be finishing it off if Good does not defend it, but they do actually defend it very interestingly. What is Good's next play? I think if Good can somehow get a drop on Aymar, just right-click it and kill it instantly with no response from Evil, they have a chance. It is a small chance because Horus would still have a Serene and a couple heroes to support with, but it would be something. But as Khazad-dûm is being sieged down by two factions here, there's just not enough space for Good to maneuver and try and actually do anything. Friend roll is getting quite low here, very precarious for Good. And Horus is doing a good job at zoning, making sure that he's not losing a lot of HP on his hero, so he's at risk of losing stuff, but also making sure that Good can't really sally forth as hard as they want to chase away Misty Mountains. Indeed, at this point, Exo is at the stage where he can solo. Khazad-dûm is a little bit too low for anything else to be done by Good to defend the spawn. Dimrildil did actually go down as well. And Horus is just going to stay in the area, just being a little bit of an annoying thorn in Good's side. As long as they don't drop Aang, as he says, he doesn't really need to leave, and there's not a lot he can do by himself anyways. Meanwhile, we do see Jolo finally finishing off Western Gondor. I think possibly Teru has missed a couple of gas here. I thought his outers would be fully upgraded by now, but I guess it doesn't matter at this point, as Jolo is coming in on his last main spawn and probably going... Oh, wait, he hasn't even gassed LoTR at all. I think he has been just like kind of missing a lot of his gas. I think having a lot more white gas during those aimer pushes could have kind of made a difference. Not ideal for good, but what's done is done. The spawn is going to go down, and LoTR is probably going to follow behind it very soon. And with LoTR going down, I think there's actually very few spawns left for good. They have Losov, they have Mansul, they have Liberated Rudar, and Khazad-dûm's dead, so it's it. Those three plus LoTR as Orphank dies. Evil has very few targets left that they need to kill to win, and look at this. Evil Min, Central, Entered Wife, Northern Entered Wife, Rev Yor, still all alive, plus obviously the Evil Heartlands. With that Fornos loss, what little hope that Good really still had has kind of died a while ago. And now Good is just playing survival. Even if they kill a ton of heroes, like at a 3-to-1 ratio, it's not going to be enough. The mass disadvantage is just too much for them to surmount. An attempted kill with the Argoleb force field here, but it's not going to be enough to finish off Great Goblin. And as the mass streams in from the western side as well, taking down the spawn, Smaug does go down, but in the north, actually, Galadriel goes down as well on an attempted dive on Aemar. Not enough. Kuranir goes down as well. Arrows comes out, but doesn't actually kill a hero. And I'm Korean down over here. He might be going for another dive, or maybe he's actually going for the Exodus heroes that haven't moved away. He's going in for Rogas, and Great Goblin has died earlier as well. If he sees Uvafa and somehow Exo isn't paying attention, he might be able to get those heroes as well, but it is not going to happen. Man, if that Aemar dive happened, if it worked, I think they might have... not really, though. Even if that Aemar kill actually happened, even then, like I said, trading at a 3-to-1 ratio is not enough for Good. It doesn't even matter anymore. And obviously, Korean can't actually go for an Aemar kill with no mass support. So, despite very good micro on their part, preventing a lot of hero losses and killing a lot of evil heroes, it's just not enough. For Gondor, as the Arb dies, I'm not really sure what Terror meant by that. Oh, the two healers. Bad. Wife's dead. But with that final set of engagements at Eastern Rudar, Good has all but spent the remaining actual strength. The only person left with spawns is Inkbad, and they're not even generating that much. Evil Min still has a few heroes. I'm Kyrian still has a few heroes. Western Gondor's faction dead. What can they do? Nothing. Even a 5-to-1 ratio at this point would not win them the game. So really, it is just kind of a game to play for moral victories now. Just trying to grab like a couple of extra hero kills, kind of skill def evil. Grab like a participation trophy or two to show that they out-microed evil at the last stages of the game. Exodus and Jolo are now going in on Amon Sul with Horus coming in with reinforcements soon behind. Ooh, Mithrandir might be going down soon, but not quite. Austria getting quite low as well. And with that, Amon Sul is going to go down. And now, finally, we have the Ice Bay of Forkel as the last remaining good spawn. With no HP left on their heroes, Thranduil's super low, Mithrandir's quite low, Inkbad has, well, squishy heroes to begin with. Let's see how many they can get, but actually they don't even go for the last stand. They just call GG. And with that, Soldier isn't leaving. Soldier's doing... What is Soldier doing? Oh, he leaves. And with that, KR surrenders this game, and the win goes to Team Europoors. The Europoors will be advancing to the finals for a final showdown between Team Europoors and Team Rat Kings.